Greetings, beloveds. Welcome and peace be with you. I'm Rev.Mitzi and I'm so very glad you're here. Something within you was calling you to watch. Thank you for answering that divine call and welcome to Unity of Tempe online. So last week's talk was called Stepping into the Unknown, Setting Goals After 2020. And this week, we move further into the unknown. Oh, yes, this past week in the US, it was a lot to stomach. I'm still reeling. Collectively, we've been through so much these past few years. And we knew that as the camera rolled over onto 2021, it wasn't all miraculously going to be better. Yeah, we didn't expect to be hit so hard again just 6 days in. We may not be surprised, but that doesn't deny its impact on us. We may be confused and angry, disgusted and sad, among other emotions that we can't even identify. Perhaps we simply feel drained by it all. Many of us in America are experiencing emotions similar to PTSD from all the stress that, well, it just doesn't seem to let up. And amid this, it's important not to spiritually bypass our responses. I've shared this before with all of us, that we're no good to each other if we're fake. Fake spirituality, where people try to out-spiritualize one another, it's shallow and without the depth needed to support us during the times that we're living through. I'm so very, very grateful for all of you and for our beloved community, a place where we are encouraged and supported in the midst of our emotions. And so I encourage us all to allow ourselves the room to process, to breathe, and to be as we continue being vulnerable and authentic on this earthly journey. We're living through really, really difficult times. Be gentle with yourself and know, beloveds, that you're not alone in your feelings. Now, at times, we may experience feeling immersed in divine presence. And at other times, we may feel immersed in divine absence. At times, we may experience divine revelation, and at times, divine silence. And it can be very tempting to quantify God's presence and absence. God is present in this situation and absent in that situation. And it can also be tempting to blame ourselves and others when we don't recognize God's presence at all times. But authenticity invites us to be wholehearted to the best of our ability. Even when things in the outer world, things beyond our control, are so hard to comprehend, so hard to stomach. But what does it mean to be wholehearted? Well, Brené Brown describes being wholehearted as having a heart that is free and vulnerable enough to love and be loved, and a heart that is equally free and vulnerable to be broken and hurt. Both these states, loving and being loved and broken and hurt, they're a part of the same coin. And God is there with us in the spaces of feeling the divine presence and in the spaces of feeling the divine absence, the void. Now, with all that's unfolding in the past week, you may have found it difficult to concentrate. I know that I did. You may have even been frustrated at yourself for not getting things done you wanted to do, not getting those things done on your to-do list. But I want you to know, beloveds, that whatever you do or do not do, whatever's on your to-do list that you cross off or don't cross off, it does not affect your worthiness one iota. I love how Brené Brown further describes wholeheartedness. She says it is engaging in our lives from a place of worthiness, cultivating the courage, compassion, and connection to wake up in the morning and think, no matter what gets done and how much is left undone, I am enough. Say that with me, beloveds. I am enough. It's going to bed at night thinking, yes, I am imperfect and vulnerable and sometimes afraid, but that doesn't change the truth that I am brave and worthy of love and belonging. And that is our truth, beloveds. We are brave and we are worthy of belonging. Now, I hope you had a chance to complete the exercises in last week's message. But if you didn't, that's okay. You can go back and do them at your convenience and let yourself off the hook if you haven't done them yet. I hope you have a word for the year, but if you haven't yet, that's okay too. Ron and I were working on completing our exercises on Wednesday morning. Yes, the 6th of January, this past week. And then, as we were working on them, my phone started going off and texts started coming in. And you know why. We stayed pretty focused though, and then, like most of the population, we watched a lot of news that night. Disconcerting, disheartening, dismaying news. And so I understand completely if you did not get the exercises completed. This past week, it was tough. You may even be thinking with so much uncertainty, why even bother to set goals? Well, beloveds, we set goals because they support us. They support us in body, mind, and spirit on this earthly journey. Frank Laubach said, "We grow to the stature of our goals. Without a goal to keep us trying, our souls atrophy like unused muscles." We don't want our souls atrophying, do we, beloveds? No, that's why we set goals. So now if you've not completed all the exercises from last week, that's okay. Let yourself off the hook. Listen to this message in its entirety and then go back and do the exercises from last week. So now we're delving deeper into seeing what Spirit has in mind for us in this unusual new year as it continues to unfold. So usually my word for the year emerges right on or before January the 1st. This year, I really struggled in coming up with my word for the year, being open to listening to it. I kept listening and listening and listening, but now I do have my year and I'm going to share it with you in just a few minutes. But first of all, I want to tell you about my word last year. It was revitalize. And actually, I created a vision board. You may remember we did a vision board event at Unity of Tempe last year. I created a vision board around a specific goal, and I actually added Ron's word as well, which is focus, to the vision board. Now, all of the things on this vision board haven't yet come to fruition. In fact, I didn't even really work on them because I was called to put my focus. That actually became a big part of my word as well, of my focus for the year as a spiritual leader. So we're still working on this one. I'm going to put it back over there right now. And so I want to tell you more about what happened with my word for the year. And so nothing was popping in, but lists and lists and lists of words that I was trying to make happen. And right before we went on to record this today, the word dropped in. That's always what happens. It just suddenly, when I let go and surrender, it happens. And I was so surprised by the word because it's not a word that is on any of my lists. It's not a word that I had heard. And so immediately when I heard the word, I felt a complete sense of peace. And as I grounded into it, I looked up. I have a little hutch above my desk, and there I have an angel, and she actually has the word on her. My word is wisdom for the year, and it's so perfect because it kind of encompasses all of the other words that I was trying to make fit. When we let go and surrender, God reveals in divine perfect time. Now maybe you have had a challenging time coming up with specific goals for this year. And that's understandable, beloveds, because looking from the outside, life is incredibly uncertain right now. And what may help with your goal setting is to come up with an overall word to describe those goal categories in each of the categories that we outlined last week, to remind yourself of why you have selected these goals. So let me share some examples from my own goals. So I always write all my goals in this little journal here. I've had this for years, and I'm actually got like 3 pages left. I have a new journal to use for another year, but I write them all in there. And so I this year put specific words along with those goal categories. So for health and fitness, my word is life. Now, when I think of the word life, it reminds me why I'm choosing to eat healthy, mostly, and why I'm choosing to keep my weight under control, mostly, and why I'm choosing to walk 6,000 to 10,000 steps a day. Yeah, I've been a little off on that recently because it's been really cold in the mornings, and just walking a little in the evening, but I'm getting back to it. Now, for spirituality, my word is joy. In my Sunday message for December 13th, 2020, and that message is still up on the website, I spoke on the comfort of joy and the difference between happiness and joy. Now, preparing this talk greatly impacted me. One of the top talks that I've created that has impacted me specifically and gave me such a deeper understanding of the joy of God in my life. For entertaining activities, my word was recharge. Now, at first, I thought the word was cope, but as I dug deeper, I realized that coping was about recharging during these challenging times. So the movies, the books, the art, the music, or anything else I choose, while a way to cope effectively and decompressing from the stress of 2020 and 2021, is ultimately so I can be recharged in spirit. So now I invite you to go through the goal areas we looked at last week. And remember, beloveds, if a certain goal does not fit for you, you can recategorize it so that it does. Or you can just make the goal list shorter and come up for one word to define each goal category. Not sure what that word is? Well, ask yourself, what word describes why those goals are important to you and why you want to achieve them? And here's the thing, don't overthink this part. Let the word flow from spirit. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, reminds us, be still and turn within to the great source. So take some time to look at those words, at those categories, and let the word be revealed, and write down that keyword that is revealed in each of the categories. And just to remind you, these are the categories: health and fitness, spirituality, family, career, job, finances, social network, physical environment, entertaining activities. Now you can pause this video at any time so that you can complete this. Welcome back. Now that you have a word for each separate goal category, make it into an I am statement. For instance, under health and fitness, let's say your word is also life. It doesn't have to be, but let's just use this as an example. Your statement then for health and fitness becomes I am life. I am life. I am life. And you can repeat that statement multiple times. So then from the space of knowing that you, yes, you are indeed life, allow yourself to listen carefully to Spirit's input and be guided to any specific additional goals and actions that will support you in revealing more life. And you may want to make starting your affirmations part of your daily spiritual practices. And this brings us to the God boxes that we've used in previous years. Here's our God box. Got our goals in here, and they have been dated from previous years. Normally, we write our specific goals with dates that we want to manifest them by onto slips of paper, and we drop them in here and we pray over those. And we can do that this year, absolutely, and I encourage you to do that. But also with so much up in the air this year, I invite you to write your I am statements on pieces of paper and put them in your God boxes and review them daily. Your I am statements for each of your categories. Put them in there. I am life. And then I invite you to look at those and put them around your house as well so that you will see them, those I am statements. Psalm chapter 5 verse 3 says, "In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. I lay my requests before you and wait expectantly." Remember, I am life. Yes. So last week, I talked about an annual event that I lead at the Labyrinth at the Franciscan Renewal Center on January the 1st to set our goals and intentions. And I've been doing this for years and years and years, and sadly, this event did not happen this year due to COVID. Now, when we get to the walking part of that event, where we walk the labyrinth, we do so together. And I remind us that we're going to encounter others on the path. And as the path is only big enough for one person to walk by, we might view these other people that are coming towards us as obstacles in our way. It's always really fascinating to see people who come here for the first time and see them going, we're going to walk all together. There's so many people. How are we going to do that? I don't know how we're going to do that. How are we going to do that? And then it's fascinating to watch people on the path. Some walk with their head down, very focused. I'm not going to let anyone get in my way. And others are like, I'm going to let every single person pass. And others are going, I'm going to give every single person in the silence a high five or a hug. And it just is so fascinating. It's kind of a microcosm of the macrocosm of the world and how we view the obstacles that come up to us. And people love this part because they love experiencing that. Now, there's one thing that we can be absolutely certain of, beloveds. We are going to encounter obstacles with our goals. Yes, it's true. We're going to encounter outer obstacles and inner obstacles to those. And it's how do we show up in the midst of those obstacles? 2020 presented humanity worldwide obstacles. And some responded with empathy and love and adaptability and flexibility and patience and kindness and generosity and just overall goodness towards one another. Others, well, not so much. And as we begin 2021, we can see that really not much has changed. This year, above all, We're called to be flexible and adaptable and patient. Words that humanity must, and you know, I don't use the word must very often, but must adopt to support each other so that we can move forward even during these very challenging times. And what the world needs now in this time of rampant COVID and political turmoil, it's really to be covered in a blanket of love. A nice, warm, cozy blankie of love. And so Zephyrin has a beautiful song around this. And I invite you, as you listen to this song, to let it be a meditation for your soul and a meditation out to the world right now. See the world being showered with a blanket of love. Listen to this and allow it to really move you, beloveds, filling your soul up with love and seeing the world as a beautiful, kind, loving place. I'll be right back after this song, so please stay with us.
Welcome. I'd love for you to sing this chant with me. It's called Blanket of Love.
Thank you, Zephyrin. So beautiful. A blanket of love. If that was our prayer and that was what we just really envisioned for every man, woman, child, every sentient being on the planet, what a beautiful world it would be. Yes. So we send that love out to every single person in every situation around the world. And so that is my prayer this week for all of humanity. And so I am so grateful for you, beloveds, for being with us. So very grateful. And so it is time for our financial blessings now, because we know that as we give, we receive. As we give, we receive. As we give, we receive. We're so very, very, very grateful for you. There is no blessing, financial blessing, that is too small or too big. We are so grateful. It is by your contributions that we can continue with Unity of Tempe online. So I want to just say prayers of abundance showering you with blessings, financial blessings and blessings of abundance in every single aspect of your life for 2021. Thank you, God, and so it is. And so we close now with our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. All is well, and we are grateful. Yes, we are grateful, beloveds. I love you. Have a peace-filled